that time of year for one of the most important events in the Vermont agricultural calendar. It's the annual Crop and Soils Field Day at the Board of View Research Facility in Alburgh. If you're a farmer, you probably already know about this indispensable agricultural opportunity. For those not in the know, there's still time to learn what's growing in Vermont. Good afternoon, and thank you for stopping by Across the Fence. I'm Keith Silva. For nearly the last 20 years, in late July, farmers from every corner of Vermont travel to little old Alburgh to hear, see, and yes, smell the latest research being conducted by the University of Vermont. To look ahead at what's on tap for this year's day, I am joined by Heather Darby, UVM Extension Agronomist, and John Bruce, who joined Extension in 2017 after graduating from UVM in 2013. Welcome aboard, John. Many returns for Heather, but it's good to have you on for the first time. So Heather, you and your team lead workshops and conferences and events all year long. This is not your one-time workshop. What makes the Alburgh Field Day different?
Well, you'll have to go to find out. No, just kidding. Well, it's outside, which is great,
that's
right?
Good. That's good.
During the year, a lot of our educational events are in the winter time when people, farmers especially, have a little more time to get out. But this is a field event, and what's really special about it is all the research we summarize and talk about in the winter. People actually get to come and see growing and visually see the results right in the field.
You're both farmers, you've both run farms, you both operate farms. Seeing is really believing for farm folks, because it's just because you can grow it in my neighbor's yard doesn't mean it's going to grow in my yard, right, John?
Right.
Yeah, absolutely true. What are some of the things you're presenting at this year's conference?
Yeah, so I think I'll probably be touching on like a few of our ongoing grain projects. We'll do like a little bit of a recap for some of those as well. And then I think also introducing a newer project as well, which is focused more on vegetable seed production.
Okay.
So that's kind of looking at like a few different core crops, which are broccoli, tomatoes, lettuce, squash. And then we'll have kind of like some afternoon breakout sessions where in mine we'll focus more on that vegetable seed project and kind of dig into some processing equipment.
Farmers need to know that what they're going to plant works. Why do they need all this back matter, this backstory? Who cares about the research?
We all care about the research. Right, who cares about the research? Well, our motto always says, let us screw it up so you don't have to, right?
Nice,
so doing the research helps you sort of weave and sort of poke through and evaluate and investigate and come up with some of the best options for farms. So we're doing the experimenting for the farm first. So trying out different things and then trying to put forth some of those options, hoping that we've taken just a little bit of the risk out of doing something new or trying a new practice. So that's why it matters.
And that's sort of the whole point, is like, we took the risks so you don't have to, and tried things like you said. And I think a lot of times when people come to this event, they know not as much as you, but they know a lot, and they can say things like, did you try X? And you'll say, yes, we did, and here's why we don't suggest that, or why, or I didn't even think of that, right?
Yeah, I would like to think it's a iterative or circular process where we have a great feedback loop. A lot of the research that we have at the farm comes from the farmers themselves, right? The ideas, the questions. So we're really trying to answer the questions that the farms have, or things we've seen on the landscape and feel like we need to address or find answers to, and get that feedback from the farmers. And sometimes everything's a zero, it just never works. And that's good that we know that, and we can kind of move on to the next thing.
I think they call that the land grant mission.
Is that what it is? Yeah, right.
John, what specialties are you working on this year specifically that you'll be presenting?
Yeah, so some of those vegetable seed projects.
The ones you talked about, tomatoes and broccoli,
Yeah, and so those are really kind of digging into, developing some good yield information for seed specifically. We have a lot of really great information that's kind of focused around improving crop yields of those veg crops, but not a whole ton of information, especially on the organic side, of, how much seed you can actually get from, a single plant. And then also, like a lot of those best practices, we might have to make some adjustments to, some of like the crop recommendations in terms of like spacing or irrigation or fertility. So it's kind of that loss mitigation.
So it gets that specific though.
Yeah.
Spacing and things like that.
Yes, yeah.
One of the specialties that you were working on, farming changes every year, crops change every year, but you used to be the hemp guy. You used to work with the hemp crops. Heather can tell you, I can tell you, 5-6 years ago, there was nothing hotter than hemp. Anybody with half an acre was trying to grow, an acre of hemp if they could squeeze it all into one spot. Where is hemp today? Production in Vermont.
And so, like you said, obviously like very hot crop years ago. I think we're up to like almost 1,000 registered growers and processors in the state. That's definitely gone down quite a lot in the past few years with different regulation changes and whatnot. And currently, like I think a lot of those folks who were kind of focused on flower production have kind of pivoted to more of like the recreational market. There's still kind of those really invested folks who are very interested in fiber and grain as well. But we're kind of, seeing like a lot more of that shift and kind of, downsizing and focusing to, more specific areas.
Right. Heather, I remember going up to Border View when the first hemp crop got planted up there, and even getting the seeds was an issue, and we weren't really sure where things were going to go at that point. And now do you think things have shifted to fiber? Is it just specific growers, or is it still something that a lot of people are trying to get a little piece of?
Yeah, no, the fiber and grain markets are very much still in early stages of development, especially the market itself and processing and different processing capabilities around the region and the country. So it definitely has been slow to grow, much slower than the first boom of hemp that we saw. But things are, continuing to grow and pick up. And I'm pretty sure if you come to the field day, you'll see some of the first locally made hemp yarn.
Cool.
Probably the first. Well, no, not the first. I never want to be the first. But there'll be some hemp yarn that was produced from the crop up in Alburgh by a local mill.
Awesome. And I think the other thing that we've talked about forever, having you on the program, is the gap between the growing of the crop and then the processing of the crop, which brings us to our next crop that John has some experience with, and I know you do too, hops. Where is hops? Hops was hemp before hemp.
I might kick that one to Heather.
That's right. I know. We used to say hemp is the new hops, right? Because we had a big hop boom as well, probably well more than a decade ago. Easy. Now we were working on that, and there's still a lot of interest. There's still a number of growers that are still in Vermont. We have Champlain Valley hops. Which is a big hop producer here in Vermont. Still a lot of microbreweries around, so definitely still interest there. But again, as people start to realize, what it takes to grow and harvest and process some of these crops, the market, I don't want to say the market shrinks, but the interest shrinks, right?
Sure,
and so, you go down to a number of growers that have really dove in, taken it very seriously, and have built businesses around it.
And had success.
Right,
had success.
Yes.
I think that's the key. One of the things I love about this annual event is that it's not just for niche-y things like hemp and hops. You grow, cow corn, dent corn, and you're talking about what you're doing. So why not just talk about the sexier crops? Why talk about, field corn? Why do farmers need to know the research into that?
What's not sexy about field corn? It's really what I want to know.
Okay, sorry.
But anyway.
I'm showing my bias.
Yeah, right. So, our goal, again, is to meet the needs of Vermont farms and Vermont community environment. And so that means we're doing a lot of things for a lot of different people. So the research, again, is meeting the needs of Vermont farms. And there's a lot of different kinds of farms in Vermont. So we're trying to do a lot.
And it's just not conventional, it's organic, it's all the products showing everyone. I mean, it's really a laboratory that you've got up there. It's really remarkable. One of the recent projects that we did at Board of View that I was there for, we talked about grain crops. We were talking about spelt. How's the spelt growing this year, Heather?
Pretty good.
Looks pretty good.
Yeah,
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Okay,
it's getting close to harvest. Probably right around the field day, actually.
Yeah.
Usually we're running around trying to harvest right before the field day or right after.
Right.
But it looks great. You know, John didn't mention yet, but we are digging more into these ancient grains.
Yep.
So we have a trial that we've put out on that John's been looking at.
So for those, like, we're kind of looking at sorghum, millet, teff, fonio, and then that, obviously, those are kind of like more like alternative type grains, as well as like ancient grains, and then like the spelt and the rye and oats and other stuff kind of fall into that category as well. Yeah, so it's just interesting. Like, there's a lot of like growing interest in, you know, some of these unique or ancient crops as well, and kind of, you know, steering a little bit more into like these like artisanal markets too, and, you know, hopefully providing more like value-added products for
Crop and Soils Field Day. We've been talking about farmers, but this is also about end users, and if bakers and food processors, they want to know about this stuff as much as anyone, right?
Yeah, we end up with a very diverse audience at the field day. You've been, I mean, everyone from policymakers to, you know, commissioners, secretaries of, you know, Anson Tebbets usually shows up. Farmers of all types, other support folks that are supporting the ag community, and then those that eat and those that make products from food. So we do get a lot of the public and consumers to come out too.
All right, let's get people, I want to say thank you both, but let's put up a graphic that shows everyone the 18th annual UVM Extension Crops and Soils Field Day is July 24th. It is in Alburgh. There's a website there, go.uvm.edu/2025 annual field day. Follow that link. You can register. You do have to be registered, correct?
Yes.
You couldn't see that on camera, but Heather said yes. My thanks.
If you want to eat lunch.
If you want to eat lunch, they provide lunch. We didn't even talk about the lunch. My thanks to the crew behind the scenes here at WCAX. I'm Keith Silva. This is Across the Fence. Thanks for being part of our family.